Well, now we're going to start creating drawings uh, with Inventor. And when you open up Inventor, this is your home screen. Up until this point, we have not been using projects. But now that you're going to start creating drawings, you've got to use projects. And there's another video this week that you'll read to understand that. So what you'll end up, you may have to copy or move your part file that we've created, so far in the semester. That you've been saving them either in one folder for 1105 or in a weekly folder, like week 1, week 2, week 3, whatever. So I'm not going to go into projects now, other than say that there's a video there that you need to watch. But now that we're creating drawings, you've got to use projects, and your part file, excuse me, and your drawing file have got to be saved, preferably in the same project folder. It works out better that way. I'm leaving mine under default because I've got some parts and stuff scattered here and there. So I'm just going to leave it there for right now. If you want to create from this screen, we could go new here and choose a template. Okay. It may go to here initially. That would be okay. I prefer to come down here to my English folders, and I want us to always use the IDW files, not the DWGs. They work kind of the same way in Inventor. The problem is this file can be opened in AutoCAD, and if you just double click that file to open it from your Windows Explorer, it may open it in AutoCAD. And that that just slows things down. Okay, so you want to use the ANSI IDW file. Okay, so just from here with no part file open, and of course if you have a metric drawing, you would come here and choose the ANSI millimeter IDW file. Okay, these others are British and German and Japanese and stuff like that. So we want the ANSI one. So back to English, I'm going to open the ANSI inch IDW file. And when it opens up, it defaults to a D-size sheet. Okay, and from this point, well, before we place views, so the template has the border and the title block already set up in it, and it goes to default to a D-size sheet. If you want to change sheet sizes, you come up here and right click on sheet 1 and go edit sheet, and here you can change your sheet size to an A, B, or C. And a lot of what we're doing in this class will be A size or B size. Some of them will be C size. Okay, so I'm just going to change that one to a B, and then it drops it down like that. Okay, the title block, there's actually 2 different sizes of title blocks. And so if I were to delete this one, I can come back in and add another from up here, title blocks. There's an ANSI large and there's an ANSI A. Okay, I can't put them in at the same place. Okay, so I'm going to delete this one. Insert. Okay, and so now that is just a smaller one, has less fields and stuff like that. But most of the time, you're not going to need to do that. Sometimes, if you're working with an A-size sheet, because it is smaller. It works better with a smaller title block. Okay. One of the things, if you were to come here, yeah, that's getting us a little further ahead. All right, so from here, I do not have a drawing open. So to place a drawing, I come up here, base view, and I have to find my drawing that I want to use. So that means I've got to navigate somewhere. Let me go to a course here. Swivel yoke, that I'm pretty sure that's an inch drawing. Okay, and so from here, most of the time these will just stick on primary. Here's where you change. This is hidden line. This is a solid. There's no hidden lines shown, and this is shaded. Okay. For your base views and your orthographic views, we'll always go with hidden line. When we place an isometric view, we will go with shaded. Now, whatever you do, do not check raster view. I'll say again, do not check raster view, because it, instead of your vector drawing, it puts in a raster version of it, which is pixelated. And you will know that you have done that because there'll be little boxes around it. Okay, now then, so you've got your base view. You can change your scale here if you need to. Okay. And then while you're still in here, if you notice the little green box, I can project up and hit my top view, and I can project over and do my side view. And I can also come up at an angle and do my isometric view. Okay, and then I can hit OK. And it will create all of these views. And then I can grab my base view and move it. And you notice the top view moves with it because they're locked together. Okay, and so I can get them centered up in my space here, and you use these guides along the border to kind of help you with that. Now, because we want our isometric view to be shaded, because it gives it a better definition. So I right click on the view and go edit view, and I come over here and I make it shaded. I click the shaded, I leave the solid, and then go there. Okay. So now let's go back to the edit view. And you notice this looks the same as what I had when I placed the view initially. Most of the time we are not going to do these. The exception to that is if you have an isometric view that is at a different scale, then you would turn on that. Let me cancel that. Let's go back to the isometric view. Okay, so I'm going to hit the light bulb here, and that turns it on, makes it visible. And view identifier, most of the time we're not going to have an identifier on our isometric unless we have multiple isometrics, then we might could. So I'm just going to hit delete. And then I'll say okay. So to have something, I got to have something in there. So what I can do, I can hit the pencil and go edit view label. And right here under view identifier, I can delete that and just leave scale and say okay. And then okay. Put something in there. Okay. So there has to be something there. Just I can turn it on and off. And the thing is, you don't normally do that unless you're going to do it at a different scale. And we can change the scale here and make it smaller. Okay. And so now that would be a good representation of it. Now, we normally don't do view labels on our orthographics unless you're going to have multiple, like you would have a right side and a left side. and for some reason you might want to differentiate, then we could come in here. Okay, and we wouldn't have the scale. So let's go back in there, edit view. We wouldn't have the scale unless it's different scale from our main views. Now, normally we're not going to put labels on our orthographic views unless we have unless there might be some confusion. And in this class, I don't think we're going to have anything like that. In some of the future classes, yes, the drawings get complicated, and so we do have labels on those. Okay, and so that's basically how to set those things up. Now, let me close this one. Now, I am not going to save it. And I'm going to open a part. Okay. Now, to create a drawing with a part open, which most of the time is how you're going to do it, if I come up here and just hit the, if I hit the pull down arrow, it gives me these choices here. Now, the problem with this is it usually defaults to whatever the last template that you used. There is that possibility. But you can choose some of these other templates that are set up. Okay, and so let's just say, for example, I'm gonna go with this one, 5 views with a note. This is asking for the part, and so because I've got a part open, it's going to default to that. If that's not what I want, then I would navigate and find the one that I want. Okay, but I want to create a part of what I've got open, so I'll say okay. And so it puts it in there. It go ahead and puts in your, the 5 views, because that's the way that this one was set up. And if you don't want a bottom view, you just select it and delete it. Okay. And then you, just like before, we can go in here and edit, turn off our labels, those kinds of things. Let's look at this. So edit view, if I turn off labels here from the front view, okay, so it only works on that view. So I'd have to go into each view and turn off those labels. Okay, now that's one way to get a C-size drawing. All right, so let me close that one down. If I just go to a blank drawing, it's just like before. It drops me to a D-size sheet. Like I said before, the problem is it could jump back and forth between metric and inches. Okay. So if I just click on the new sheet there, now it brings me back to this page, and I can choose which one I want. If I want metric, I can go to metric and open it. If I want the inch, I can go to the inch and open it. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways to get there. Okay, so I was looking at my notes there. All right, so we go to place this thing, and if you didn't build your model correctly and orient it so that the front view is the front view, like what would be in a drawing, here's where you can change it right here. You got the view cube open. Now, I haven't placed this yet, so I haven't okayed out of here, but I can rotate my view cube and it will change that view. And then I can project from that. So if you have oriented your model incorrectly, This is a way to fix that when you go to create your drawing so that you can put the correct front view in as the front view. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like that and go ahead and drop a couple of views in here. Okay, now I showed you a while ago how to change go in edit view and you can change them here, make them solids, hidden lines, those kinds of things. And then once if you've placed your views and you see that you need an additional view, maybe you didn't, get them all in at one time, you just come back up here, projected, and I had that ISO selected when I hit that. So I go projected, and I choose my base view or whichever one I need to project from. Okay. I hit escape instead of enter. And I can right click and go create. Okay. I can also project off of my other views if I need something like that. Now that would be, well, I'm not saying it's unheard of, but we do have some drawings where we do that. Okay, so that's how you project off of an existing view. If you need auxiliaries and sections, we're going to get into those a little bit later on. But they work pretty much the same way. Like say, we could do an auxiliary view off of this sloped plane here. So I would go auxiliary, select that view, and it gives me my view identifiers and stuff. Okay. And then I select the line that I want to project from. And then I just pull it out. Okay. And then it creates the auxiliary view based on this surface right here. Now, once maybe I need an auxiliary view of that to dimension that for whatever reason, but I don't want to show all this other stuff. So I can crop a view, but it only works in rectangles, okay? And I don't know if there's a way to rotate that rectangle or not. I don't know. Let's see. Let me select all of those. We're experimenting here. And let's see, rotate. Got them selected, center point. Nah, okay, I don't want to mess with that. Okay, so maybe not. Okay, so if you need to crop something down, you can. And you can hide lines. Also, you can select, I don't know, I'm going to hold down my shift key and select several of these lines. And then right click and turn off visibility. And it will hide those things. Okay. So that's some of those things. I'm at 20 minutes here. That pretty much covers our views. Let me finish this video up and then we'll come back and we'll look at dimensioning and center marks and those types of things.